Hey everyone, welcome to another review, and here's my review for the movie Miracles from Heaven. Yes, this movie stars Jennifer Garner, it's directed by Patricia Riggen, and okay, I have a lot of shit to say about this movie, so if I rant a little bit and go a little too long with this review, I'm sorry, but there's a lot I gotta say about this movie, and it's not because this movie is a heaping pile of shit, it's because this movie is so mixed. Like, there's a lot of great things in this movie, but there's also a lot of shitty things that just kill all the good things. It makes all the good things just go away. Okay, the story of this movie, Miracles from Heaven, yes, this is a religious movie, but this movie is not just made for religious people. This is a melodramatic movie about accepting loss and stuff, and don't give up hope and everything. But yeah, the story of this movie is about a mother played by Jennifer Garner, and her second oldest daughter gets diagnosed with the stomach disease. She has like a disease in the intestines and stuff, and it's basically an uncurable disease, and she has two other daughters and a husband, and they're trying to figure out what's wrong with her and how to cure it, but then they find out there is no cure, and basically Jennifer Garner's character, it was very religious in the beginning, but because her daughter is so sick and she's dying, she loses all faith in God and heaven and stuff. She doesn't believe in it because she thinks, if there was a God, why is God taking my daughter? She's so young. So basically they go and travel to, I don't know, Boston or something to go to this hospital for sick kids and to get her help and stuff. And basically, she meets a few colorful characters. One's played by Queen Latifah, and one's a wacky doctor who's basically a ripoff of Patch Adams and stuff. And all of a sudden, yeah, she gets cured. Yes, apparently heaven came down upon her and she gets cured. And that's not a spoiler, by the way, even though that happens at the end of the movie, but that's not a spoiler because the movie's called Miracles from Heaven. The title alone tells you she's going to be okay. And the storyline, when you read the synopsis to this story, it tells you she gets cured at the end. When you see the trailers to this movie, it tells you she gets cured in the end. So this entire movie's already spoiled for you, so me talking about it, it's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. So yeah, let's talk about the pros and cons in this movie, because honestly this movie is not just a straight up piece of shit movie. There are good things, and there are bad things about this movie. Let's get to the good things, because there are positives, because this movie is very mixed. It's very mixed in the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like, what, like 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. There are good things about this movie. Jennifer Garner is good in this movie. Her performance is fine. Like, in her character, you kind of, like, you know, you buy her character. You almost feel invested with her character, and she is a religious character, and you completely understand why she loses her faith and stuff, and you get it, and she actually gives a very good performance in this movie. Another person who gives a good performance is the daughter. I don't know the actress's name who plays the little daughter, but she actually gives a good performance too. Like, the emotional scenes, this little girl really shows some hardcore emotion in this movie. Like, when she's sad and when she's scared, you really buy it. And the chemistry between her and Jennifer Garner is nice. Like, it feels like a real mother and daughter and stuff. And like I said, the emotional scenes, some emotional scenes in this movie, they really work. Some emotional scenes you actually do feel sad. Unfortunately, you know how this movie's gonna end, so it takes away the sadness. I'll get to that, but yeah. There were some emotional scenes. Some scenes get a little too emotional. They get a little too movie-esque. I'm like, okay, calm down. Calm down. Like, this would be too emotional. Sometimes this movie gets a little too emotional, and sometimes it does get a little manipulative and a little too preachy and stuff, but those are minor nitpicks I have with this movie. Let's get to some more positives. For one thing, there's some scenes in this movie that actually have some atmosphere. There's some pretty quiet scenes, and it symbolizes what these characters are going through and stuff. There's some scenes that are pretty atmospheric and stuff. Some scenes are okay shot, like some of the shots are okay. Some of the editing is pretty good, and yeah, that's about it. But yeah, all those positives are very good positives. Like, there's emotional scenes in this movie, there's some atmosphere, there's some okay editing, and there's two really good performances by two really good actresses. Those are all really good positives, right? Well, how does this movie blow all those positives? Well, every time there's a positive, there's a negative. There's two great performances, they're the only one that gives a good performance. Like the father in this movie, I don't know who that actor is. He's not a great actor. The two other daughters in this movie, they're all terrible actresses. And Queen Latifah, she's okay, but then the doctor character, I liked how likable he was, but he was a little too silly for me. I couldn't take him seriously. I understand why he was doing all this. He was doing the Patch Adams things because he works with kids and stuff and they're dying. You know, it's sad, but some scenes I just couldn't take him seriously. Like, come on. Like, I really just couldn't take him seriously. And also, the actor John Carroll Lynch is in this movie as a priest. he was also really bland and very underused and stuff. And there's another character in this movie about the dad and his daughters dying of cancer, and it's a sad scene, and it's a sad story, but that actor wasn't very good. Like, there's a scene where he has to show some real emotions, and it did not work. So, yeah, there's some good acting, but then there's also some really shitty acting. And, you know, like I said, there's some atmosphere. Well, then there's other scenes that are just not at all subtle. Like, when there's atmosphere in this movie and it shows what these characters are feeling through visuals and symbolism, well, there's other scenes they just flat out tell you everything and they just throw it right in your face. Sometimes this movie just gets right in your face, especially in the ending, and it's fucking annoying as shit. And yeah, like what I just said about the editing and the shots, some of the shots are okay and some of the editing's okay. Well, the score isn't good. It's a very generic score, and the soundtrack is like the most cliched soundtrack you put in a melodramatic, preachy movie like this. And see, like every time there was something good about this movie, there was something bad about this movie, and it was pissing me off. Like there are some scenes I'm like, oh, I'm getting into this. This is not bad. But then they just ruin it the next scene after that, and oh, this has got nothing to do about religion and stuff. Yes, this movie does get a little manipulative and it gets a little too preachy, and that's just not for me, but my hatred and my love for this movie's got nothing to do with the religion. It's just about the movie. But okay, now I'm going to get into some minor spoilers, but it's not really spoilers because they tell you everything in the trailer, in the movie synopsis, so it's not really spoilers, but the daughter gets cured at the end. She falls through a tree, so it's like the giving tree. She falls down the tree, and she goes to heaven, and God cures her and cures her illness and stuff. That is a very Deus Ex Machina, I have to admit, but whatever. The reason I have a problem with that, I don't have a problem with that scenario. I wish they did it better. Maybe like the mother prays. Well, actually they do have a scene with the mother praying. It's very corny and very sloppily handled and poorly acted, but they could have done it with the girl on her deathbed and Jennifer Garner praying at her bed, and that would have maybe worked and a little more powerful, but the way they do in this movie is so cheesy and just so stupid. Like, I get that this movie is based on a true story, and supposedly that's what happened to the girl, but honestly, maybe they should have just changed it with the movie, because it was weird and I just didn't like it. It was so sloppy, and it felt like a Deus Ex Machina for the film. I'm not talking about the real life story. I'm not even counting the real life story, even if it is a real life story. I'm not counting it. I'm just talking about the movie, just the movie. I don't think it worked for the movie. But yeah, like, I just didn't like it, and I hate they spoiled the whole movie, basically, with its title and with its synopsis. This movie shouldn't have been called Miracles from Heaven, and it should have been called, like, Search for a Miracle or something, because the movie's mainly about the girl dying and Jennifer Garner losing her faith, and that's what mainly this movie is. The first hour and 25 minutes is that. And her being saved from heaven and stuff, that's the title. So you think basically the first half is her sick and the last half is her getting cured and everyone figuring out, oh, what happened? How did this happen? No, that's like the last 10 minutes. So the movie should have been called Searching for a Miracle or something like that. Well, it shouldn't have been called Miracles from Heaven. It shouldn't have been called that, because it's a spoiler and it just doesn't work for this movie. And honestly, it takes away from the drama. Anytime there is a scene when this girl looks like she's about to die, or a scene when she's crying to her mom, it loses its emotionality because you know already she's going to live in the end. See, if you would have called the movie Searching for a Miracle, you wouldn't have known if she was going to live or die. Like, you wouldn't have known, and it would have made it all the more powerful. If she would have gotten cured magically, it would have been a lot more powerful and hard-hitting, but you already knew that was going to happen in the ending, so it just didn't work. It didn't work for me. And yeah, the way they did it, I won't even get into that now, but that was really stupid too. And honestly, I think the beginning of the movie, I think they get into the disease part really quick. I think they should have introduced the characters a little better. I think they should have fleshed the characters out more. I think they should have had more scenes with the little girl before she gets sick, more scenes with her mom and her dad. Give her more character development, because an audience can care about the character more. We do care for her when she's, like, you know, going through all these problems, because she is still a kid, but if they would have given her more character development and fleshed the character out in, like, maybe the first 20 minutes and showed more of a loving relationship with her and her mother, it would have made it all the more powerful and all the more sad, and you would have changed the title, and you didn't tell us the spoilers at the ending and stuff. The movie would have been better. The movie would have been more emotional and hard-hitting because you would have cared about the two lead characters, and you wouldn't have known if she was going to live or die, and when she does live, you're like, whew, can't believe she lived. See, those are huge problems. Like, these aren't like nitpicks. These are huge freaking problems. And I don't care if it's based on a true story. This is just problems with the movie. Also, the ending. Okay, this is another spoilers, but in the movie, when she gets cured and stuff, and she talks to her mother and dad about what happened, this scene could have been done rather well, but they didn't do it right. If they would have just showed this scene with the little girl just talking to her mom and dad and telling them both what happened and stuff, and might have sounded ridiculous, but if the whole scene was just the camera on the little girl just talking, would have been a little bit better because we wouldn't have known if we would believe her or not. Like, it would be more interesting. You'd be like, did this really happen? Was she maybe in a coma? Like, is this even real? It would have been much better, but the movie doesn't do that. So when she's telling the story, the movie even takes you all the way back to when she fell down the tree, and they actually show her go to heaven. And, oh my god, it was so cheesy and so lame. Again, nothing to do with religious anything, but the movie is a very realistic and emotional movie, and that scene just took me out of it. Felt like it was in a fantasy movie. Like, she's all in these clouds and skies and floating in this forest, and it was just, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. It took me way out of the movie. Like, yeah, so, these are huge problems I have with this movie, and it really pissed me off. It really pissed me off. And like I said, there are good things in this movie. Like, Jennifer Garner and this little girl are great in this movie, and they are giving good performances. And I could tell this director was trying with this movie, the writer, everyone was trying, even the horribly acted characters, they were even trying with this movie. And I was even trying with this movie. I was trying to like it, because there are scenes that are really well done, like they're very good. And honestly, if they would have fixed all those problems I just said, this could have been a good movie. Despite religious people and despite what my take on religion is, that doesn't matter. It would have been a good and more emotional impact of a film. But because they did all those screw-ups, it took me way out of the movie and it just pissed me off. Yeah, so I don't know if I should recommend this or not. I don't even know, because there are great things in this movie. The performances by Queen Latifah, Jennifer Garner, and the little girl, they're all good. Like, they give good performances. Like I said, there's some atmosphere that's really good, and some shots and editing is done really well. There are some scenes that are done very well, but the bad scenes are really bad, and they just take you way out of the movie. Just, like, way out of the movie, and it really angered me. This movie actually got emotionality out of me, but then it got a lot of anger out of me, so I was so mixed with this movie. So, I don't know. If you're a film lover, skip this movie. This movie will piss you off. So, if you're a film lover, don't see this movie. But if you are a religious person and you do love like these kind of hard-hitting dramas, these melodramatic movies about a daughter and a mother relationship, if you love these kind of movies, I highly recommend it. You'll probably love this movie, and you'll probably have a lot of emotionality towards it, and a lot of connection towards it, and that is completely fine. That is so fine, and if you want to go see a movie like this, go see it, you'll have a blast. But if you're a film lover, and you want a really intellectual and very well-crafted film, this ain't it. So yeah, scale 1 to 10, I'll give this movie, Miracles from Heaven, a 5.7 out of 10. So yeah, it's not good, but it's not that bad either, so it just, So yeah, that's my review for the movie Miracles from Heaven. So in the comment section below, please tell me, here's a question for you guys. Name a movie that you watched, and it wasn't that good, but it had a lot of potential to be good. So yeah, a bad-ish or okay-ish movie that had a potential to be good. Comment below, let me know. For me, it's Spider-Man 3. It's not like a horrible movie. I actually personally don't hate it, but that movie had potential to be a great movie. So yeah, Spider-Man 3 for me, but what about you? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.